Have you ever noticed that we are surrounded by miracles, and yet most of us walk past them every single day without realizing it? Not the kind of miracles we see in movies. Not lightning from the sky or sudden magic tricks. I'm talking about quiet miracles. Invisible miracles. The kind that happen inside your body right now as you listen to this video. The kind that happen in hospitals, in homes, in moments of fear, hope, healing, and survival. Here's a question that might stop you for a moment. What if the reason life feels overwhelming is not because miracles are rare, but because we have forgotten how to see them? What if the greatest source of hope, strength, and peace is already inside you, working silently, tirelessly, without applause, every single second of your life? This book, The Miracles Among Us, is not about fantasy. It's not about blind belief. And it's definitely not about ignoring science. It is about something far more powerful. It is about how science itself reveals wonder, how the human body, the human mind, and the human spirit are capable of extraordinary things, even when we feel weak, broken, or afraid. And once you truly understand this, the way you see your health, your fear, your struggles, and even your future will never be the same. So stay with me. Not because this is just another book summary. Stay because what you're about to hear might quietly change the way you live. Because miracles are not somewhere far away. They are among us. And they always have been. Now, before we go deeper, it's important to understand who is guiding us through this idea. Dr. Marc Siegel is not a motivational speaker chasing attention. He is not selling fantasy or false hope. He is a medical doctor, a clinical professor of medicine, and someone who has spent decades working directly with patients, people facing fear, illness, uncertainty, and life-or-death moments. What inspired this book was not theory. It was experience. Dr. Siegel noticed something fascinating during his years in medicine. Two patients could have the same diagnosis, the same treatment, the same hospital, the same doctors, and yet their outcomes could be completely different. One person would heal faster. Another would struggle. One would find strength. Another would collapse under fear. And the difference wasn't always medicine. It was something deeper. It was belief, meaning, hope, connection, the mind's relationship with the body, the way fear and faith physically affect us, the way stress, trust, love, and resilience shape our biology. This book was born from a simple but profound realization. Modern medicine explains how the body works, but often forgets to explain why it heals. And that missing piece is where miracles quietly live. As we move forward, remember this. This book does not ask you to reject science. It asks you to see science with wonder. Now let's begin the journey. Imagine for a moment that your body is not just a machine, but a living, intelligent system that constantly adapts, protects, repairs, and responds to the world around you. Right now, as you sit and listen, trillions of cells are communicating. Your immune system is scanning for threats. Your heart is adjusting its rhythm. Your brain is filtering information, creating meaning, predicting outcomes. And you didn't ask it to do any of this. It just does. This is the first miracle Dr. Siegel wants us to recognize. The miracle of automatic life. Most of us only think about our bodies when something goes wrong. Pain forces awareness. Illness demands attention. But health is silent. Health works in the background, unnoticed, uncelebrated. Think about breathing. You don't consciously tell your lungs to inhale and exhale. You don't command oxygen to enter your bloodstream. You don't manually instruct your heart to beat faster when you run or slower when you sleep. And yet it happens. Perfectly timed. Constantly adjusted. Incredibly precise. If any machine did even a fraction of this without error, we would call it revolutionary. But because it's happening inside us, we call it normal. And that's where we miss the miracle. Dr. Siegel reminds us that when we treat the body as nothing more than parts and procedures, we lose respect for its intelligence. And when we lose respect, we lose connection. That disconnection matters more than we realize. Because healing is not just mechanical. Healing is relational. The body listens. The nervous system responds to emotion. The immune system reacts to stress. The brain interprets danger, even imagined danger, as real. Fear alone can raise blood pressure. Chronic stress can weaken immunity. Hopelessness can slow recovery. This is not philosophy. This is physiology. And once you understand this, you begin to see why miracles don't always arrive in dramatic ways. Sometimes, a miracle is simply the body being allowed to do what it already knows how to do, without interference from fear. Dr. Siegel shares countless moments from clinical life where patients surprised doctors, not because medicine failed, but because something deeper succeeded. People who healed faster than expected. People who survived against odds. People whose conditions improved when stress lifted, when meaning returned, when hope entered the room. And no, this does not mean medicine is unnecessary. It means medicine works best when it works with the human spirit. One of the most powerful ideas in this book is that the mind and body are not separate systems. We like to pretend they are. We talk about mental health and physical health as if they live in different worlds. But the body doesn't recognize that division. The body responds to thoughts as if they are events. If your brain believes you are in danger, your body prepares for war. If your brain believes you are safe, your body begins to repair. This is why chronic anxiety feels exhausting. This is why peace feels healing. And this is why belief, not blind belief, but deep emotional belief, can influence recovery. Dr. Siegel describes how expectation alone can change outcomes. This is where we encounter one of the most misunderstood phenomena in medicine, the placebo effect. Many people dismiss the placebo effect as fake improvement, but that's not what it is. The placebo effect is proof that belief triggers real biological responses. Pain decreases, symptoms improve, brain chemistry changes, immune markers shift. Nothing imaginary about it. If belief can produce healing, what does that tell us about fear? Fear is the negative placebo. Fear convinces the body that danger is constant. Fear keeps stress hormones high. Fear blocks repair. This doesn't mean illness is your fault. It means your internal environment matters. And this is where the book gently shifts responsibility, not as blame, but as empowerment. If your body is listening, then your thoughts, emotions, and environment are part of your treatment. This idea alone changes everything. Because suddenly, healing is not something that only happens to you. It is something that happens with you. As the book unfolds, Dr. Siegel invites us to stop seeing ourselves as passive patients waiting for rescue, and start seeing ourselves as active participants in our own health. This doesn't require perfection. It requires awareness. Awareness of stress. Awareness of meaning. Awareness of connection. One of the most touching aspects of this book is how often it returns to human connection as a healing force. Loneliness, isolation, emotional neglect. These are not just emotional states. They are physical stressors. Studies show that loneliness can increase inflammation. That social support improves survival rates. That being heard reduces pain. Think about that for a moment. Feeling understood can reduce pain. That is not magic. That is biology responding to safety. When you feel safe, the body relaxes. When the body relaxes, healing begins. This is why a kind doctor can sometimes heal more than a cold room full of machines. This is why compassion matters. This is why empathy is medicine. Dr. Siegel doesn't present doctors as heroes with superpowers. He presents them as partners, guides who work best when they treat the whole human being, not just the disease. And this message is deeply important in modern life, where speed, data, and efficiency often replace presence and listening. We live in a world obsessed with control. We want certainty. We want guarantees. But the human body doesn't heal on a schedule. It heals in response to conditions. Conditions of safety. Conditions of support. Conditions of belief. This book teaches us that miracles are not violations of natural law. They are expressions of it. When the conditions are right, extraordinary things happen. And when the conditions are wrong, even the best treatments struggle. As we move deeper into this book in the next part, we will explore how stress, fear, media, and modern lifestyles quietly sabotage our health, often without us realizing it. We will see how small changes in perception create massive changes in outcome. And we will begin to understand that hope is not naive. Hope is strategic. Hope is biological. Hope is medicine. For now, pause and reflect on this simple truth. Your body is not against you. Your body is not broken by default. Your body is working for you, constantly. The miracle is not that healing sometimes happens. The miracle is that healing is always trying. And once you learn how to stop fighting it, once you learn how to support it, you begin to see miracles everywhere. This is just the beginning. As we move deeper into this journey, Dr. Marc Siegel asks us to confront something uncomfortable, something most of us would rather avoid. What if the greatest threat to our health is not disease itself, but the constant state of fear we live in? Why fear worsens symptoms? The body listens, and it never stops listening. Dr. Siegel shares moments from his medical practice where patients didn't just need prescriptions, they needed reassurance. They needed clarity. They needed to feel seen. When patients understand what's happening in their bodies, fear loses its grip. When fear loosens, healing accelerates. This is why misinformation is dangerous. Not because people are stupid, but because fear is contagious. A single alarming headline can raise heart rates across the world. A misunderstood diagnosis can spiral into panic. A Google search can convince someone they are dying before a doctor ever examines them. Fear doesn't wait for facts, and the body reacts before logic arrives. Dr. Siegel argues that modern medicine often forgets this emotional reality. Doctors are trained to diagnose and treat, not always to explain, comfort, or contextualize. But explanation is medicine. When you understand what's happening, your nervous system calms. When your nervous system calms, your body recovers. This is why two people with the same illness can have very different experiences. One is consumed by fear. The other is supported by understanding. One lives in constant stress. The other feels guided. The difference is not strength. It is environment. An environment includes thoughts. This book challenges the idea that thoughts are harmless. They are not. Thoughts create emotion. Emotion creates chemistry. Chemistry creates condition. And condition determines outcome. This is not about positive thinking slogans. It is about biological pathways. Dr. Siegel explains that the immune system does not operate in isolation. It is influenced by the nervous system, which is influenced by emotion, which is influenced by perception. When you feel hopeful, immune markers improve. When you feel helpless, immune function declines. Again, not philosophy. Physiology. One of the most overlooked miracles among us is resilience. The body's ability to recover is astonishing. People heal from surgeries. Bones knit themselves back together. Skin regenerates. The brain rewires. But resilience requires rest, safety, and trust. And modern life rarely provides these. We celebrate productivity, not recovery. We praise endurance, not balance. We normalize burnout. And then we're surprised when bodies collapse. Dr. Siegel doesn't shame this reality. He explains it. He shows how cultural expectations push people to ignore warning signs. Fatigue becomes normal. Pain becomes background noise. Stress becomes identity. Until one day, the body speaks louder. And we call it illness. But illness is often the body's final attempt to communicate. It is the alarm that was ignored too long. This is where the idea of miracles becomes deeply personal. A miracle is not always a cure. Sometimes it is awareness. Sometimes it is the moment someone realizes they must change. And change is uncomfortable, because change requires slowing down, listening inward, letting go of control. Dr. Siegel emphasizes that control is an illusion when it comes to health. You cannot micromanage biology. You can only create the conditions in which it functions well. That means reducing unnecessary fear. That means improving connection. That means respecting limits. And most importantly, that means trusting the body again. Many people live at war with their bodies. They see symptoms as enemies. They fight sensations instead of understanding them. But the body is not sabotaging you. It is signaling you. Pain is communication. Fatigue is communication. Anxiety is communication. The miracle is not eliminating signals. It is learning how to listen. Dr. Siegel tells us that when people feel heard, truly heard, their symptoms often soften. Not because the disease disappears, but because resistance ends. Resistance creates tension. Tension creates stress. Stress blocks healing. Acceptance, on the other hand, creates space. This is why fear-based living drains vitality, and why peace restores it. As we continue this journey, the book begins to explore how belief systems, cultural, personal, and emotional, shape health outcomes in ways we rarely acknowledge. We will look at why trust in medicine matters, why distrust harms healing, why community is protective, why isolation is dangerous, and we will begin to see that miracles are not rare events. They are natural responses to the right conditions. You are not weak for feeling overwhelmed. You are not broken for feeling tired. You are not failing because you struggle. You are human, and your body has been trying to keep up with a world that rarely slows down. The miracle is that it still tries. And as we move forward, you will begin to understand how to work with it, not against it. How to calm the nervous system. How to restore balance. How to invite healing instead of forcing it. Because miracles do not arrive through pressure. They arrive through alignment. And that understanding changes everything. At this point in the journey, Dr. Marc Siegel invites us to examine something deeply uncomfortable, something that quietly controls more of our health than we like to admit. Belief. Not belief in miracles as magic. Not belief in wishful thinking. But belief as a biological force. Most people underestimate belief because they confuse it with imagination. But belief is not fantasy. Belief is expectation. And expectation is one of the most powerful drivers of how the body responds to reality. Your brain is constantly predicting what will happen next. And those predictions shape how your body prepares. If you expect danger, your body prepares for damage. If you expect safety, your body prepares for repair. This is why belief is not neutral. It either helps or harms. Dr. Siegel explains that one of the clearest proofs of this connection is something medicine has struggled to explain for decades: the placebo effect. When people hear the word placebo, they often think it means fake treatment or imaginary improvement. But in truth, the placebo effect is one of the strongest demonstrations of how deeply the mind and body are connected. People given sugar pills have shown real pain relief, real changes in brain chemistry, real improvements in immune markers. Nothing imaginary about that. What changed was not the pill. What changed was expectation. The body responded to what the mind believed. Now here's the uncomfortable question. If belief can activate healing, what does disbelief activate? Fear, doubt, mistrust. These are not just emotional states. They are chemical signals. When someone believes they are doomed, their body behaves as if it's true. Stress hormones stay elevated. Immune response weakens. Recovery slows. This is why hopelessness is dangerous. Hopelessness tells the body to stop trying, and the body listens. Dr. Siegel shares that in medicine, trust is not optional. It is part of the treatment. Patients who trust their doctors do better. Patients who feel abandoned struggle more. This is not because doctors perform miracles. It's because trust creates safety, and safety allows healing. Think about that. Feeling safe can influence survival. This is why rushed appointments, cold communication, and dismissive attitudes can actually worsen outcomes, even if the treatment itself is correct. When a patient feels unheard, the nervous system stays activated. When the nervous system stays activated, the body stays defensive. When the body stays defensive, healing is delayed. This is also why misinformation is so destructive. Not just because it spreads false facts, but because it spreads fear. Fear weakens trust. Fear fractures confidence. Fear isolates. And isolation is one of the greatest enemies of health. Dr. Siegel emphasizes that humans are biologically wired for connection. We heal better together. We survive longer with support. Loneliness increases inflammation. Connection lowers stress hormones. Belonging strengthens resilience. Again, not philosophy. Biology. One of the quiet miracles among us is how much the body responds to kindness. A gentle touch. A calm voice. A sense of being understood. These are not soft interventions. They change physiology. This book challenges the idea that medicine is only pills and procedures. Medicine is also communication. Medicine is also reassurance. Medicine is also meaning. And meaning is powerful. When people understand why they are suffering, suffering becomes bearable. When suffering becomes bearable, the body stops fighting itself. Dr. Siegel talks about how patients often fear uncertainty more than pain. Not knowing what's happening creates panic. Panic activates stress. Stress worsens symptoms. But when uncertainty is explained, when someone says, "Here's what's happening, here's what to expect," fear loosens its grip, and the body breathes again. This is why education is healing. Knowledge calms the nervous system, and calm restores balance. As we move deeper into the book, we begin to see how modern society unintentionally trains us to distrust our bodies. Every ache becomes a threat. Every sensation becomes a symptom. Every feeling becomes something to suppress. But the body is not fragile. It is adaptive, and adaptation is a miracle. Dr. Siegel explains that symptoms are often protective responses. Pain prevents further injury. Fever fights infection. Anxiety prepares for danger. The problem is not symptoms. The problem is chronic activation. When protective responses never turn off, they become harmful. This is why chronic anxiety is so damaging. This is why long-term stress leads to illness. This is why rest is not optional, it is biological necessity. Yet modern life treats rest as weakness. We admire exhaustion. We glorify overwork. We normalize burnout. And the body pays the price. The book reminds us that healing does not come from pushing harder. It comes from listening better. This is a radical idea in a world obsessed with control. But it is also liberating. Because it means you don't need to fight your body to heal. You need to cooperate with it. And cooperation begins with trust. Trust that your body is not betraying you. Trust that signals are messages, not enemies. Trust that healing is a process, not a deadline. As this understanding deepens, the book gently shifts our attention toward how lifestyle, media, and constant stimulation quietly hijack our nervous systems. We will explore how information overload keeps the brain in survival mode, how constant alerts prevent deep rest, how fear-based content affects physical health, and how reclaiming calm is not luxury, it is medicine. Because the miracle is not curing everything. The miracle is restoring balance. And balance is where life thrives. As Dr. Marc Siegel moves deeper into this exploration, he turns our attention to something so familiar that we rarely question it, the environment we live in every day. Not just the physical environment, but the emotional and informational one. Modern life has created a world where the human nervous system is under constant assault, not by predators or physical danger, but by noise. Noise in the form of notifications, headlines, opinions, warnings, predictions, comparisons. The brain was never designed to process this much stimulation. And yet it tries. Every alert triggers attention. Every alarming headline activates threat detection. Every comparison invites self-doubt. And the body reacts to each one as if it matters for survival. Dr. Siegel explains that the nervous system does not distinguish between a real threat and a perceived one. To your biology, stress is stress. A breaking news alert can raise cortisol the same way a physical danger can. A social media argument can activate fight or. Constant exposure to conflict trains the body to stay tense. Constant exposure to negativity trains the immune system to weaken. On the other hand, calm environments restore balance. Nature, quiet, meaningful conversation, laughter, these are not luxuries. They are medicine. Dr. Siegel reminds us that humans evolved in environments where silence existed, where night was dark, where information arrived slowly. Today, there is no off switch, unless you create one. And this is where personal responsibility returns, not as blame, but as choice. You may not control the world, but you can control your exposure. You can choose when to unplug. You can choose what voices you listen to. You can choose when your body gets rest. This is not selfish. It is survival. The book also explores how constant comparison, fueled by social media, creates chronic dissatisfaction. Dissatisfaction becomes stress. Stress becomes illness. People compare highlight reels to real lives. They measure worth through external validation. They live in a constant state of not enough. And the body absorbs that pressure. Dr. Siegel emphasizes that meaning protects health. People with purpose tolerate stress better. They recover faster. They survive longer. This is why loneliness is deadly. Why disconnection hurts physically. Why community heals. Humans are social organisms. Isolation confuses our biology. The body interprets isolation as danger. Connection signals safety. And safety activates healing. As this part of the book unfolds, we begin to understand that miracles are not always dramatic recoveries. Sometimes, a miracle is reclaiming calm in a chaotic world. Sometimes, it is sleeping deeply again. Sometimes, it is breathing without tension. Sometimes, it is feeling peace for the first time in years. And these changes matter more than we think. Because small shifts in nervous system state create large shifts in health. And then choosing to live fully within that framework. When a person stops resisting reality, something extraordinary happens. The body relaxes. The mind clears. Hormones balance. Immune function improves. Sleep deepens. Energy returns. This is not wishful thinking. It is biology responding to perception. The book is full of stories where patients faced life-threatening conditions, yet their outcomes were profoundly influenced by how they responded emotionally. One patient, facing a dire prognosis, chose to focus on meaningful daily rituals rather than the fear of death. They experienced not just emotional relief, but measurable improvements in health. Stress hormones decreased, pain diminished, and vitality returned. This is the essence of Dr. Siegel's message. Mind and body are inseparable partners in every healing process. He takes this further by examining how meaning, a sense of purpose, transforms physical outcomes. People who live with purpose tolerate stress better, recover faster, and survive longer. Purpose provides context, and context provides safety. Your biology understands purpose. It interprets meaningful experiences as signals that resources are available, that survival is supported, that repair can occur. Contrast this with lives devoid of meaning. Chronic stress, purposelessness, and disconnection from others are toxic. Dr. Siegel cites studies showing that social isolation increases mortality as much as smoking or obesity. Loneliness is not just emotionally painful, it's biologically damaging. Our bodies evolved to live in social groups, and when that need is unmet, the nervous system interprets it as a threat. Connection, then, is one of the most overlooked forms of medicine. A simple conversation, a caring gesture, a laugh shared with a friend, these are not minor luxuries. They are integral to health. And here, Dr. Siegel challenges the traditional medical model. Healing is not only about drugs, procedures, or surgery. It is also about relationships, meaning, and emotional engagement. He goes even further, discussing how the expectation of healing, whether consciously cultivated or unconsciously maintained, plays a measurable role in outcomes. People who anticipate recovery often experience it more quickly. Their nervous systems, immune systems, and endocrine systems align with this expectation. The mind primes the body. Belief becomes biology. And this is where he emphasizes something profound. Miracles are not random. They are the product of alignment between mind, body, and environment. They are the natural result of creating conditions where the body can do what it already knows how to do. The heart knows how to beat. The lungs know how to breathe. Cells know how to repair. The brain knows how to regulate. When fear, stress, and disconnection are minimized, the miracle of the body's intelligence is unleashed. Dr. Siegel also addresses how people sabotage their own healing without realizing it. Worrying incessantly about illness, obsessively searching for symptoms online, consuming constant fear-based media, all of these are forms of chronic stress. They keep the nervous system activated, the body defensive, and healing stalled. And yet, there is hope. Awareness is transformative. By simply noticing the effect of fear, by understanding the biology of stress, by intentionally cultivating calm, connection, and purpose, we can shift the body from defense to repair. We can activate the miracles that have been quietly present all along. In modern life, it is tempting to think that only dramatic interventions, surgery, medication, extraordinary treatment, create healing. But Dr. Siegel's book shows us a different truth. The small, everyday conditions we cultivate, our perception, our relationships, our focus, our emotional state, are just as powerful, if not more so. One of the most striking lessons he shares is that healing often begins inside the mind. When patients shift from fear to trust, from hopelessness to meaning, from isolation to connection, the body responds. Recovery accelerates. Pain diminishes. Vitality returns. This is not anecdotal fluff. It is observable, measurable, and repeatable. And here's a moment of reflection. Think about the last time you felt completely safe, truly connected, and deeply understood. Notice how your body relaxed. Your breathing slowed. Muscles softened. The nervous system finally let go of tension. That state, that simple alignment of mind and body, is the baseline from which miracles emerge. This is why Dr. Siegel repeatedly emphasizes that healing is not just a physical process. It is an emotional and social one as well. Doctors, families, friends, and communities play essential roles. Empathy, compassion, and presence are not mere niceties. They are part of the therapeutic process. And so, the message of the miracles among us begins to crystallize. Miracles are not violations of nature. They are expressions of it. They occur when the right conditions, biological, emotional, and relational, align. In the next part, we will begin exploring practical steps. How you, as an individual, can cultivate those conditions in daily life. How to reduce fear and stress, strengthen connection, cultivate belief and meaning, and allow your body's innate intelligence to flourish. Because understanding miracles intellectually is one thing. Experiencing them, seeing them unfold in your own life, is something entirely different. And this is where the book truly becomes transformative. Now that we've explored the biology of miracles, the role of fear, the power of belief, and the essential importance of connection, Dr. Marc Siegel guides us towards something profoundly practical: how to create conditions for miracles in your own life. This is where the book stops being theoretical and starts being deeply personal. It is where knowledge transforms into action. And the first lesson is deceptively simple: calm the nervous system. Think about it. The body heals when it is at rest. Stress hormones drop. Immune function improves. Repair mechanisms activate. But modern life rarely gives us this luxury. Notifications buzz, deadlines loom, fears linger. Dr. Siegel encourages small, deliberate practices to invite calm into daily life. Not hours of meditation, unless that's your preference. Not retreating from the world entirely, but moments of intentional awareness. For example, a simple morning ritual of deep breathing can dramatically shift the day's physiological trajectory. 3 minutes of focused inhalation and exhalation lowers cortisol, slows the heart rate, and primes the body for repair. It is a small miracle happening in real time, every day. He also emphasizes sleep as medicine. Sleep is not optional. Sleep is where the brain consolidates memory, where immune cells repair tissue, where the body detoxifies. Prioritizing quality sleep, even by 30 to 60 minutes more per night, can create profound shifts in energy, focus, and immunity. Sleep deprivation, conversely, is chronic stress in action. The second practice Dr. Siegel highlights is managing perception. We cannot control every circumstance, but we can control our interpretation. The same news, the same diagnosis, the same stressor can feel overwhelming or manageable depending on mindset. This is not about forcing positivity. It is about conscious alignment, recognizing fear when it arises, noticing it, naming it, and then allowing it to exist without letting it dominate decisions or physiology. This subtle shift, acknowledging fear without surrendering to it, begins to transform the body's response. Connection comes next. Humans are social creatures, biologically designed to heal together. The book shares compelling examples where family presence, compassionate caregivers, and community support dramatically improved outcomes. And the first lesson is deceptively simple: calm the nervous system. Think about it. The body heals when it is at rest. Stress hormones drop. Immune function improves. Repair mechanisms activate. But modern life rarely gives us this luxury. Notifications buzz, deadlines loom, fears linger. Dr. Siegel encourages small, deliberate practices to invite calm into daily life. Not hours of meditation, unless that's your preference. Not retreating from the world entirely, but moments of intentional awareness. For example, a simple morning ritual of deep breathing can dramatically shift the day's physiological trajectory. 3 minutes of focused inhalation and exhalation lowers cortisol, slows the heart rate, and primes the body for repair. It is a small miracle happening in real time, every day. He also emphasizes sleep as medicine. Sleep is not optional. Sleep is where the brain consolidates memory, where immune cells repair tissue, where the body detoxifies. Prioritizing quality sleep, even by 30 to 60 minutes more per night, can create profound shifts in energy, focus, and immunity. Sleep deprivation, conversely, is chronic stress in action. The second practice Dr. Siegel highlights is managing perception. We cannot control every circumstance, but we can control our interpretation. The same news, the same diagnosis, the same stressor can feel overwhelming or manageable depending on mindset. This is not about forcing positivity. It is about conscious alignment, recognizing fear when it arises, noticing it, naming it, and then allowing it to exist without letting it dominate decisions or physiology. This subtle shift, acknowledging fear without surrendering to it, begins to transform the body's response. Connection comes next. Humans are social creatures, biologically designed to heal together. The book shares compelling examples where family presence, compassionate caregivers, and community support dramatically improved outcomes. Loneliness, isolation, and lack of emotional support, on the other hand, amplified illness. Dr. Siegel encourages nurturing relationships. Simple gestures like checking in on a loved one, sharing a meal, having an honest conversation, or even holding someone's hand during difficulty. These are therapeutic acts. They reduce stress, lower inflammation, and allow the body to focus on repair instead of defense. Another key practice is meaning and purpose. Purpose is not optional for optimal health. It provides context. It signals to the body that life is worth investing in. People with purpose withstand stress better, recover faster, and experience fewer complications in illness. Finding purpose can be as simple as committing to a daily practice, helping others, or dedicating time to something deeply meaningful. The content is secondary. The engagement is what matters biologically. Dr. Siegel also explores the practical application of expectation and belief. The mind sets the stage for biology. When you believe healing is possible, the body aligns with that expectation. This can mean trusting your doctors, trusting your treatment plan, or even trusting your body's innate intelligence. Placebo studies are not about sugar pills. They are about the power of expectation. And each of us can harness this, consciously cultivating belief in recovery, in growth, in resilience. He stresses small, cumulative changes. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. Tiny, consistent shifts, like taking a 10-minute walk outdoors, practicing deep breathing during stress, reaching out to a friend, or writing down 3 things you are grateful for each morning, accumulate into a physiological and emotional environment where miracles are more likely to occur. Nutrition and movement are addressed in practical, realistic ways. The body heals best when it is nourished and strengthened, not punished. Balanced meals, hydration, and gentle movement support the immune system and nervous system. Exercise is not just about weight or aesthetics. It regulates stress hormones, strengthens cardiovascular function, and primes the body for repair. Dr. Siegel also emphasizes reducing unnecessary fear exposure. Media, social media, and constant alerts can activate the nervous system even before you realize it. Curating your informational environment, limiting fear-based consumption, checking news at set times, and avoiding doom scrolling is a direct form of biological intervention. A particularly transformative practice he highlights is reflection and mindfulness. Pausing at the end of the day to acknowledge what went well, what you accomplished, and where you experienced growth helps signal to your nervous system that life is safe and meaningful. Journaling, meditative reflection, or simply a few moments of silence before sleep enhances recovery and strengthens resilience. Dr. Siegel underscores that these practices are not about perfection. They are about alignment. You will not eliminate every stressor. You will not live in constant bliss. But by aligning mind, body, and environment, you allow your innate healing intelligence to flourish. That alignment, calm, connection, purpose, belief, is the miracle that science quietly reveals every day. Finally, he encourages a radical reframing of adversity. Challenges, illness, and uncertainty are not just threats. They are opportunities for growth, learning, and connection. When you shift perception, fear becomes manageable, the nervous system relaxes, and the body heals more effectively. This is not wishful thinking. It is biology working in harmony with consciousness. By applying these principles daily, miracles are no longer rare events. They are the natural outcome of the conditions you cultivate: calm, rest, connection, purpose, belief, and meaning. In the next section, we will take all these lessons and tie them together in a powerful, emotionally inspiring conclusion, showing how you can integrate the book's teachings into career, relationships, finances, personal growth, and everyday living. We will end with a call to action that leaves viewers motivated, transformed, and ready to experience miracles in their own lives. As we reach the final section of this journey, let us pause and reflect on what we've uncovered. We have explored the miracles that exist quietly in our bodies. We've seen how the nervous system listens, how stress shapes outcomes, how belief and expectation literally influence biology. We've learned that connection, purpose, and meaning are not just abstract ideas. They are active forces that determine how our bodies heal, how our minds cope, and how our lives unfold. And now, Dr. Marc Siegel asks us the most important question. If these miracles are among us already, why do so many of us fail to notice them? Why do we let fear, doubt, and distraction overshadow the incredible power within our own biology? The answer is simple and empowering. Because noticing requires presence. Presence is more than being awake. Presence is being aware of what your body, mind, and environment are doing. Presence is seeing fear for what it is, acknowledging stress without surrendering to it, and deliberately cultivating the conditions that allow your own miracle to emerge. Imagine, for a moment, treating every day as a laboratory of possibility. Every meal, every conversation, every act of movement, every moment of rest. Each is an experiment in supporting your own healing. Every small choice, compounded over days, weeks, and months, creates an internal environment where the miraculous becomes ordinary. Dr. Siegel invites us to approach life with what he calls informed awe. Awe is not naive. Awe is recognition. Recognition that our bodies are incredible, that our minds are powerful, that connection heals, that belief matters, and that our choices are biological interventions. And with this awe comes responsibility. Not a heavy, burdensome responsibility, but a liberating one. Because if miracles are biological, emotional, and relational in nature, then we are not helpless. We are participants. We are co-creators of our own health, our own recovery, our own flourishing. Think about your daily life. How can you create calm? How can you cultivate connection? How can you live with purpose? How can you engage belief in your own strength and healing? These are the questions that matter more than any external circumstance, more than any diagnosis, more than any fear. Dr. Siegel leaves us with one final insight. Miracles do not require perfection, nor do they require extraordinary circumstances. They require alignment. Alignment of mind, body, and environment. Alignment of belief, intention, and action. Alignment of presence and awareness. When alignment exists, extraordinary things happen naturally. Pain softens. Recovery accelerates. Energy returns. Joy emerges. Life expands in ways that are measurable, observable, and deeply felt. And so, the core message of the miracles among us is not that miracles are rare, magical events. It is that miracles are the natural product of living wisely, intentionally, and compassionately toward yourself and toward others. Now it's time to act. Start today. Breathe deeply. Rest fully. Connect meaningfully. Seek purpose in small acts. Cultivate belief in your own resilience. Notice the miracles quietly happening within you every second, and watch as those small choices compound into extraordinary outcomes over time. As you reflect on these ideas, take a moment to consider one simple step you can take immediately: a 5-minute pause to breathe, a kind word to a loved one, a deliberate act of rest, a moment of gratitude. Small steps are powerful. They are the building blocks of miracles. And remember, this is not just about surviving. It is about thriving. It is about living fully, deeply, and with awareness of the incredible potential within you. So as we conclude this journey through the miracles among us, carry this with you. Your body is intelligent. Your mind is powerful. Your connections matter. Your purpose heals. And your choices shape reality. The miracles are not distant. They are not rare. They are already here, among us, within you, waiting to be noticed, nurtured, and celebrated. If this video has inspired you, if it has shifted your perspective even slightly, take action now. Pause, breathe, connect, and notice. And if you feel called to share this message, like, subscribe, and comment below. Share the miracle with others. Engage with your community. Help others notice the extraordinary hidden in the ordinary. Because the more we notice, the more we cultivate, the more we align, the more miracles we will experience, not just for ourselves, but for everyone around us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being present. And thank you for allowing yourself to see that miracles are among us. And they always have been.